English is not my first language, so please ignore the spelling and grammar mistakes. This story is completely based on imagination and has nothing to do with the real characters. Please do not comment negatively. All the songs and photos are used in this video are not mine, so the credit goes to the respective owners. I own the storyline and this small editing. I'm using Taehyung AI voice. Hi everyone, I'm opening a second channel where I'll be making lots of videos, and I'll be super active from now on. I'll also continue to post on this channel too. It would be great if you could subscribe to my second channel. YN was at her friend Mia's house for a project and she got late. She was walking back. It was already late. Oh God, I'm so late. She started running because the streets are scary at night when alone. She quickened her pace. She looked back, then turned around and kept walking. She was passing by an alley when she stopped in her tracks and listened carefully. She couldn't make out what was being said, but the laughter sounded menacing. She slowly approached the alley, her heart pounding in her chest. Pressed the gun harder against a guy's forehead, growling,
"Last warning. You have 5 seconds to talk. One more lie and I pull the trigger." 4 seconds passed.
The man's Adam's apple bobbed heavily as he swallowed hard. "Kill me! I won't tell you anything!" Grip on the gun tightened, his eyes glowing dangerously under the dim streetlights.
"Then you leave me no choice."
Suddenly, you hear the sound of a bullet echoing through the alley, the sound of gun clicks. She gasped and covered her mouth, eyes widening in shock. She knew she shouldn't have come closer, but her feet seemed to be glued to the ground. She watched in horror as the man fell to the ground, lifeless. The man's hand was stained with blood. Oh my God. She gasped and watched in fear and shock. She knew she had messed up coming here. Shit! She quickly turned around and ran away from there as soon as possible. Watched her run away, lowering his gun slowly.
"Shit, that girl just had to show up at the wrong time,"
he muttered darkly, wiping his bloody hand on his black jeans. He pulled out his phone, dialing a number with his blood-stained fingers.
"Find her. She saw too much. She shouldn't."
His subordinate answered quickly, "Already on it, boss. Last seen heading north on 5th Avenue. He smirked grimly, tucking away his phone.
"Run, little kitten. Run."
She ran back to her home. She quietly opened the front door and tiptoed inside. She didn't want to wake anyone up. She unzipped her bag slowly and hung it near the door. She let out a sigh of relief. She tiptoed up the stairs and entered her room. She closed the door softly behind her. She let out another sigh and turned on her desk lamp. She slipped out of her shoes and unbuttoned her coat. She hung her coat in her closet and sat on her chair. She put her face in her hands and breathed deeply. She shuddered at the thought of what had happened tonight. She shook her head vigorously, trying to clear the disturbing images from her mind. Focus. YN. You need sleep, she muttered to herself, standing up to change into her pajamas. After brushing her teeth and washing her face, she slid into bed, pulling the covers up to her chin. Time skips. Her mother's stern voice pierced through her mourning. You got home late again yesterday, YN. How many times do I have to tell you to be home on time? Her mom shook her head disapprovingly, waving a wooden spoon. YN flinched at her mom's scolding, rubbing her elbow nervously. Mom, I know. I'm sorry I was late coming home yesterday. She avoided eye contact. It won't happen again, I promise. Her mom sighed and put down the spoon. Okay, but next time if you're late, you'll be grounded. Understand? YN nodded quickly, not wanting to argue. Good. Now eat your breakfast and get ready to go. You don't want to be late for university, right? No, Mom. I don't want to be late. YN quickly ate her breakfast. She washed her dishes and headed back upstairs to grab her bag and coat. As she was about to leave the house, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was her friend Mia. YN, I'm waiting outside. I'm coming, Mia. I'm just grabbing my stuff. She quickly replied to the text and rushed outside, pulling her coat tighter around herself. She spotted Mia waiting by the gate. "Sorry, I'm late. My mom was scolding me again." Mia rolled her eyes playfully. "You're always running late. Come on, let's go before we're both late." She linked arms with YN as they started walking towards the bus stop. "By the way, did you see the notice on our university group? It says the math teacher is retiring." YN frowned slightly. "Math teacher retiring? Who's going to teach our class now?" she asked Mia as they boarded the bus, finding seats near the window. Mia shrugged her shoulders. "I heard they're bringing in a new teacher." "New teacher? Hope he's not too strict," YN muttered. Mia grinned mischievously. "Hope so." As they arrived at their university, they went to their class. The room was filled with chatter and students milling about. YN and Mia made their way to their usual seats. The classroom fell silent as Taehyung walked in on the first day of the semester. Adjusting his glasses, his piercing eyes scanned the room, seeming to memorize every face. "Holy shit," Mia muttered softly next to YN, fanning herself slightly. "He's so handsome." Her blood ran cold. She recognized those dangerous eyes and that sharp jawline. She gulped slowly, trying not to stare. He's the new math teacher?" she whispered to Mia. She remembered those callous hands holding a gun. So Taehyung was the secret mafia. During the day, he was a professor. It was his disguise. He was a strict professor and a scary mafia. No one knew anything about him. He was strict and at the same time freaking handsome, which made girls go crazy. Taehyung was a math professor. He wore glasses that made him look smart and innocent. He was unknowingly attractive. He was 28 years old. Taehyung cleared his throat, silencing the whispered murmurs. His gaze landed on you, lingering just a beat too long.
I'm Professor Taehyung. I expect absolute silence and attention during my lectures. Any disruption will be met with severe consequences.
YN felt her heart skip a beat under his intense gaze. She quickly looked down at her desk, trying to hide any visible reaction. The way he said severe consequences made her shudder, remembering that cold calculation in his eyes last night. She gripped her pen tightly. As the bell rings, signaling the end of class, he watches as the students start pouring out of the room. Suddenly, you feel his icy cold gaze on you as he addresses you.
You, stay after class.
His voice is stern and commanding, leaving no room for argument. YN's heart races as he calls her out. She feels a cold sweat break out on her forehead. She slowly stands up, her eyes fixed on him. The other students file out of the classroom, whispering among themselves, until only YN and Taehyung are left. He waits until the door clicks shut behind the last student before turning his full attention to you. He walks around the desk like a predator stalking its prey. He stops in front of you.
We need to talk about last night.
He reaches out and gently tilts your chin up with his finger, forcing you to look at him.
You saw something you shouldn't have.
YN felt fear well up inside her as Taehyung's hand gripped her jaw, forcing her to look at him. She remembered the chilling scene from last night and trembled slightly under his touch. I didn't see anything," she lied, her voice barely above a whisper. A dangerous smirk played on his lips as he gently stroked his thumb across her jawbone.
Don't lie to me. I hate liars. I'll ask you one more time.
YN felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "Okay," she whispered shakily. I saw you shoot someone in the alleyway."
Good girl for finally being honest.
His thumb traced the shape of her lips.
Now the question is, what am I going to do with you? You should not have seen that.
YN's heart pounded in her chest as Taehyung's thumb brushed against her lips. Please," she stuttered. "I won't say anything, I swear. I'll forget everything I saw."
Forgetting is not an option, sweetheart.
He leaned in closer, his breath ghosting over your ear.
You've seen too much. I can't risk.
His hand slid down to wrap around your neck, not squeezing, but the threat was clear. YN inhaled sharply as Taehyung's hand wrapped around her neck. You can't," she whimpered, her eyes darting around the room as if looking for an escape.
Don't even think about running.
His hand remained firm but not tight, a silent warning.
A pretty thing like you? Running from someone dangerous? Do you know who I am?
His thumb traced a pattern on your throat. Her breath hitched in her throat as his thumb traced a path on her skin. You're dangerous. You killed that man." Her voice trembled slightly. "Who are you exactly?"
Kim B, the famous mafia. That's my real name. Sweetheart. Not like the Professor Taehyung they know.
His thumb paused its movement on your neck. Wyan's eyes widened in shock. "Mafia," she whispered. She gripped the edge of the desk for support, her knuckles turning white. "You are a mafia?"
The very one.
His other hand suddenly caught a lock of her hair, twirling it between his fingers.
Now you understand why pretty little things like you shouldn't play detective in the dark. I hope you will keep your mouth shut, or I'll make it shut forever.
"You're threatening me." "Fine. I won't tell anyone about anything." Her body was frozen. Whether from fear or his closeness, she didn't know. He chuckled darkly, releasing her hair but maintaining his grip on her neck.
Smart girl? I like smart girls. Let's make a deal, shall we? You keep my secret, and I'll keep you alive.
"Deal," she whispered quickly, her eyes locked onto his. "Can I go now?" He released his grip on your neck, stepping back slightly.
For now.
He looked you up and down.
But don't think you're free, YN. I'll be watching your every move from now on.
Wine nodded, her heart still racing from their encounter. She quickly gathered her things and went out of the classroom. Her friend Mia was waiting outside. "Hey, what took you so long? Was our new Professor Taehyung giving you extra instructions or something?" Mia asked, a knowing smirk playing on her lips. Then, noticing your pale face, her expression immediately changed. "Hey, you okay? Your face is all white." Wyan avoided her gaze, her hands shaking slightly as she put on her backpack. Yeah, I'm fine," she mumbled. "Can we go to the library now?" Mia nodded, her eyes narrowing slightly as she studied your face. She could tell something was off, but she didn't press the issue. Instead, she linked her arm with yours and led you toward the library, chatting away about their upcoming exams and the latest gossip around school. Time skip. The weeks passed, and YN threw herself into her studies, trying to distract herself from the constant feeling of being watched. She avoided Taehyung at all costs, sitting in the farthest corner of the classroom and always leaving immediately after the bell rang. One day, YN and Mia walked toward the cafeteria. As they were in line for lunch, YN felt an intense gaze on her back. She turned around and saw Professor Taehyung standing by the window, sipping his coffee and staring at her. YN quickly turned back around, her heart racing. She grabbed her lunch tray and hurried to an empty table, sitting with her back to the window to avoid any further eye contact. Mia noticed your sudden rush and followed suit, sitting down across from you. Mia giggled. Professor Taehyung was definitely checking you out. She poked YN's arm playfully. YN nearly choked on her water at Mia's teasing comment. She coughed embarrassedly, her cheeks flushing red. "Don't be ridiculous, Mia. He's not interested in me like that." "Maybe, maybe not," Mia replied with a shrug, taking a bite of her sandwich. "But if a handsome and hot professor is checking you out, I'd definitely explore that, you know?" She winked playfully, clearly enjoying your discomfort. YN shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She couldn't admit that she knew exactly what kind of dangerous man Taehyung really was. "Stop that, Mia," she whispered. "He's our professor, and you're being inappropriate." She quickly stood up, grabbing her backpack. "I'm going to the library," she exclaimed abruptly, needing to escape Mia's teasing before she had a heart attack. "I'll see you later, Mia," she called out, already walking away. Time skip. Over the next few weeks, YN couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. She'd often catch Taehyung's icy gaze on her during lectures, his expression unreadable. One evening, as she was leaving the university, she heard footsteps behind her. YN quickened her pace, trying to ignore the heavy feeling in her gut. She wasn't sure if she was being paranoid. The streets were dimly lit, and she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following her. She debated whether to look back or keep walking. The footsteps grew louder, more deliberate. A hand suddenly grabbed her arm, spinning her around. Taehyung stood there. He pulled her into a nearby alleyway, pressing her against the wall.
Hey, little kitten.
YN gasped, her heart pounding wildly. Professor Taehyung, what are you doing? She tried to wriggle free, but his grip only tightened.
Shush, don't scream. No one will hear you here. And even if they did, it wouldn't matter.
He paused, his hand sliding down to rest on her hip. YN swallowed hard. What do you want? His lips curled into a cruel smirk as he looked down at you.
What do I want? I want to know if my little kitten is following the rules. I've been watching you, YN.
YN felt a shiver run down her spine. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone about anything. Now, let me go.
Smart answer. One question, little kitten.
He smirked slightly.
What if I told you that I'm now obsessed with you?
YN's eyes widened in shock and fear at Taehyung's words. Obsessed? With her? He was a dangerous man. But please don't say that, she whispered. He asked softly,
Do you know what happens when a man like me gets obsessed?
Stop it. Her voice was barely above a whisper, fear making her knees weak. You're scaring me. Her hands trembled at her sides. And you're my professor.
Shay, little kitten.
He stepped closer again, his hand reaching out to cup your cheek. His touch was surprisingly gentle.
I'm your professor during the day. At night, I'm just a dangerous mafia member who has become obsessed with you.
No. She whimpered, her eyes filling with tears as she finally realized the gravity of her situation. He watched as tears started to roll down your cheeks. A dark satisfaction filled him. He leaned in, his lips almost touching yours.
You're gonna be mine, little kitten. In every sense of the word. Believe me, I did nothing to make you cry. Still.
He kissed her chin. YN let out a sob as Taehyung's lips brushed against her chin. She was utterly helpless, trapped between his strong arms and the cold wall. Tears streamed down her face. Please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Let me go. I don't like the mafia. He pulled out a handkerchief from his pocket and gently wiped away your tears.
Don't cry. I'll take good care of you, as long as you behave.
He pressed his lips against yours in a possessive kiss, his hands gripping your face firmly. YN whimpered as Taehyung deepened the kiss, his tongue sliding past your lips. You tried to push against his chest, but your hands only encountered hard muscles. The kiss was rough and possessive. You held his collar. He groaned against your lips as you held onto his collar. His hands moved from your face to your waist, pulling you flush against him. The kiss became even more intense, his tongue exploring every inch of your mouth. You broke the kiss to gasp for air, only to have him trail open-mouthed kisses down your neck. Stop, you whispered. He ignored your plea, continuing along his path down your neck with kisses and soft bites. One hand slid lower to grip your hip possessively.
You are now my addiction.
Please, she whimpered, her hands clutching desperately at his shirt. I'm getting late. Mom's gonna scold me. At the mention of your mom, he suddenly pulled back, his chest heaving as he ran a hand through his hair.
Go home, little kitten.
You took a shaky breath, buttoning your shirt that he had partially unbuttoned during his trail of kisses. You hurriedly fixed your hair and rushed out of the alley, his scent lingering on your skin. You checked the time on your phone. You were indeed late. You rushed into your house, trying to be quiet so your mom wouldn't hear. You thought you were successful until you heard her footsteps approaching the living room where you had slipped in. Min YN. You slowly walked towards the living room, plastering an innocent smile on your face. Hey, Mom. Sorry I'm late. Your mom handed you a small parcel, wrapped in brown paper and tied with a string. Someone unknown sent this for you, dear. I found it on the doorstep when I came home. Wine looked at the box, wondering who could have sent such a mysterious gift. Who could it be? You took the package, feeling a strange flutter in your stomach. Only one person came to your mind who would send something mysterious like this. The string was tied neatly, with no return address visible. As soon as you reached your room, you quickly shut the door and sat on your bed, examining the package more closely. With trembling hands, you untied the string and carefully opened the brown paper. What you saw inside made your blood run cold. The contents of the package made you gasp in horror. A small white cat lay lifeless, its fur stained red with BD. It had been stabbed multiple times. Alongside it was a note written in crude, messy handwriting. With trembling hands, YN unfolded the note, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. As she read the chilling words, her blood ran cold. "Lucky little kitten. Hope your luck is as bloody as this one soon." The implication was crystal clear. Whoever sent this was threatening her. Wine's hands were shaking so hard she could barely dial Taehyung's number. As soon as he picked up, she burst into tears, hardly able to form coherent sentences. Taehyung, it's me, Wine." His heart dropped at the sound of her sobs. He gripped his phone tighter.
What's wrong? Did something happen?
Someone sent me a package." She hiccuped, trying to catch her breath. A dead cat and a note saying I'm gonna be next." She broke down again, her tears dripping onto her phone. "It's not you, right?" His expression darkened. He unclenched his jaw to answer softly.
No, it's not me. Someone's threatening you.
He was deadly serious now, his mind racing.
Do you still have the note?
He asked carefully, trying not to scare you more. Yes. You sniffled. "It's here." You wrapped your arms around yourself tightly. "Taehyung, do you think someone really wants to hurt me?" His voice turned cold and dangerous.
Yes, I think someone does.
He paused for a moment, his breathing heavy.
Stay at home, okay? I'll figure out everything.
You nodded, though he couldn't see it. "Okay," you whispered, your voice trembling. "Please, be careful." As you spoke those words, you realized with shocking clarity how much you cared about him, especially now when you felt so vulnerable. He heard the sincerity in your voice, and his heart tightened.
I will be. Lock all the doors and windows and don't open them for anyone. Understood?
He waited until he heard your affirmation before hanging up, his mind already racing with plans. Taehyung found out that day when he killed the guy in the alley that it was his brother who was threatening YN. Because YN was the only one who saw the scene, they found out about Taehyung's new obsession with YN. He slammed his fist against the wall, his eyes blazing with fury and disbelief.
That bastard.
Minho Choi, Jiho's brother, one of Taehyung's enemies, dared to threaten you. It made the blood boil in his veins.
He threatened you just to get to me?
He ran a hand through his hair, pacing back and forth in his office. He knew he had to keep you safe, no matter what it took, and that meant dealing with his enemy once and for all.
I'll kill him.
He muttered under his breath. He called one of his most trusted men, giving him orders.
Find Jiho Kim and bring him to me alive.
Time skip. 3 days passed without any incident. You started to relax, thinking maybe it was just a stupid prank. You laughed with your friends again, went shopping, and lived your life. Meanwhile, Taehyung had his men watching you 24/7 without you knowing, protecting you. On the 4th day, you were walking home from the library, your arms full of books. The streets were almost empty at this hour. You hummed softly to yourself, feeling carefree. Suddenly, a car pulled up beside you, the window rolling down to reveal a smirking face. "Little kitten." You froze, unrecognizing the voice. It was deep, raspy, and sent shivers down your spine, but not the good kind like Taehyung's. You slowly turned your head to see an unknown man leering at you from the car window. "Jiho Choi," he said, his eyes roaming over your face and body. "I've been looking forward to meeting you. You're even prettier than I imagined. Do you remember the package? It was me who sent it." All the blood drained from your face as recognition hit. This was the person who threatened you. This was the person who killed that innocent cat. Fear rooted you to the spot, but your survival instincts kicked in. "What do you want?" you asked, trying to sound braver than you felt. Such a cute little thing. No wonder why Taehyung went crazy over you. And now look where he is. He leaned out the window slightly, his eyes darkening with intent. "But you see, I have unfinished business with your precious Taehyung, and you," he smirked dangerously. Your heart raced in your chest. You swallowed hard, trying to think of a plan. She didn't have any plan, so she started running. Jiho laughed mockingly as he watched you run away. He snapped his fingers at his driver. "Get her!" The car lurched forward, tires screeching as it sped up to chase you down the empty street. Your lungs burned as you ran, the heavy books in your arms slowing you down. The sound of the car engine grew louder. He was catching up. Panic surged through your veins as you realized there was nowhere to hide. Suddenly, you bumped into a hard chest. You crashed into the hard chest, books flying everywhere. You looked up, expecting to see Jiho's men, but instead, you saw Taehyung. Before you could react, his arms wrapped around you, pulling you close. In an instant, your fears melted away as his strong arms enveloped you. His masculine scent surrounded you, and you felt safer than you had in days. But before you could say anything, you noticed the deadly serious expression on his face. You whispered, trembling against him. His gaze narrowed as he scanned the area, his arms tightening around you protectively.
"Shh, just stay quiet and hide behind me."
He turned to face the car, his voice cold and menacing.
"Jae-ho, you piece of shit. Let's end this once and for all."
Jiho sneered from the car window, his hand reaching for something inside. He pulled out a gun, aiming it at Taehyung.
"You know what your biggest mistake was?
His voice was eerily calm as he kept the gun steady.
Threatening someone I care about.
The guns remained pointed at each other.
Your brother's death wasn't enough. Now you have to die too."
His jaw clenched. Jiho's face contorted with rage. "You think you're so high and mighty, Taehyung, but you're just like me, a monster, and monsters always meet their end." Jiho chuckled, his finger tightening on the trigger. He was about to pull the trigger, but Taehyung was faster. His gun barked loudly, echoing through the empty street. BD spattered against the car window as the bullet hit its mark, right between Jiho's eyes. His body slumped over the steering wheel, dead. Taehyung lowered his gun, breathing heavily. He turned around to face you, concern etched on his face.
"Are you alright?"
You stared at Taehyung, shock and fear still gripping you tightly. His quick actions had saved your life, but the sight of Jiho's lifeless body and the blood on the car window made you feel sick. You nodded slowly, unable to speak as tears welled up in your eyes. Before he could say anything else, your legs gave out from under you. He caught you just in time, pulling you close against his chest.
It's okay now. It's over."
His hand moved soothingly against your back as he held you.
"Look at me."
You buried your face in his chest, not meeting his eyes. You knew if you looked at him, you'd either start crying like a baby or throw up. He mistook your silence for shock.
"Baby."
"Mm-hmm," you replied softly, trying to hide your true state. Your stomach churned as the scene replayed in your mind. The gunshot, the blood. You swallowed hard, hoping you wouldn't throw up on him. "Taehyung, can you take me somewhere else?" He hesitated for a moment, sensing something was off but not sure what. He nodded slowly, cradling you in his arms like a bride.
"Let's go to my place."
He carried you to his car, gently placing you in the passenger seat before getting behind the wheel. As soon as the car started moving, you felt like you were going to be sick. The motion, combined with the lingering image of Jiho's dead body, was too much. You covered your mouth with a shaking hand, trying to hold back the nausea. Taehyung drove fast. Taehyung pressed the accelerator, speeding through the city streets to get you to his penthouse as quickly as possible. By the time he parked in the underground garage, you were on the verge of vomiting. He scooped you up in his arms, rushing to the elevators and pressing the button. As soon as the doors opened, he stepped inside and hit the button for the top floor. Once the doors closed, he sat down on the floor, holding you on his lap.
Hold on, baby.
He carried you through the spacious apartment, straight to the bathroom. He set you down on the marble floor, kneeling beside you as he held your hair back.
Come on, baby. Just let it out.
He kept your hair back patiently, one hand rubbing soothing circles on your back. When you finally finished, you sat back against the wall. He grabbed a washcloth and ran it under cool water before gently wiping your face and neck. He then lifted you into his lap, sitting on the bathroom floor with you cradled against his chest. He murmured soft words into your hair, trying to comfort you as you shook and trembled. You clung to him, feeling safe in his strong arms. His gentle care made you feel small and fragile, like a child. You nuzzled against his chest, inhaling his familiar scent. Taehyung, you whispered hoarsely, your throat sore from vomiting. Thank you so much for saving me. He held you tighter.
It's okay, baby. I've got you now. You're safe.
He murmured, pressing a kiss to the top of your head. You felt a tear slide down your cheek as you leaned into his embrace. The events of the night had left you emotionally exhausted. You closed your eyes, allowing yourself to be comforted by his warm presence. After a few moments of silence, you spoke up again. Are you really obsessed with me, huh? He chuckled softly, the sound rumbling in his chest.
You have no idea how much I'm obsessed with you, and I love you more than anything, and I'll protect you no matter what. I'll get hurt, but I won't let you get hurt at all.
Wyan's heart fluttered at his words, a soft blush spreading across her cheeks. She nuzzled harder against his chest, feeling like the luckiest girl in the world. Suddenly, she looked up at him again, realizing something. Wait, where is your hand? He smirked.
You are holding my hand.
She looked down at her hand entwined with his, then back at his face. Your hand. Your other hand. He froze, realizing he had forgotten to take his hand out from under her t-shirt. He slowly slipped his hand out of your shirt.
What? I did nothing.
You blushed bright red, covering your mouth with your hand as you tried to hold back a giggle. Taehyung, keep your hand to yourself, mister.
Can't do that, sorry. By the way, I'm touching my future missus, so it's not a problem.
You rolled your eyes playfully but couldn't hide the smile forming on your lips. You're so full of yourself. Hi everyone, I'm opening a second channel where I'll be making lots of videos, and I'll be super active from now on. I'll also continue to post on this channel too. It would be great if you could subscribe to my second channel. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, and for more FFs, subscribe.